Thanks for tuning in to GTO Good Ole Boys. Buckle up and enjoy the show with your host, Paul Ponder.
Hey guys, we're down here at Waterfront, GTO at Waterfront, and we have got two special guests with us. Matter of fact, they work here, Mr. Matt Van Meter and J.D. Dalton. What do you think about that?
I have a lot of names, but that's a new one there.
I just
J.D. Miller.
Yeah.
There we go.
The one and only J.D. at Waterfront, right?
That's right.
All right, sounds like a winner, guys. And what we're going to do is we're going to let them talk. It's beginning to get to the right time for the most fun bite of the year, and that's going to be top water bite. JD, what do you think? Are they already on top water?
They already are. I've already experienced a lot of good top water action. It's a really exciting time of the year because top water fishing is one thing that gets the seasonal fishermen kind of off the couch back in the outdoors, just because if they know they can go out there and throw a buzzbait or a spook and get blown up on, they're going to go try it. So, but it's time.
It's time, and it's getting fun, right?
Right, yeah. I mean, I caught some good fish on top water, like such as a spook, but you're starting to see some schooling action. Kind of, you got the shad up shallow spawning, so if you get a hot, afternoon,
right,
they can want to come up and start, schooling, so you can load the boat fast.
That sounds like a winner. Now, Matt, talk about the frog bite.
Yeah, the frog bite's coming on, and Gunnersville. I said this yesterday. The best frog bite I've ever had happened in February of last year. February.
Dean Rojas said they'd bite in February.
Caught the fire out of them, but right now is your typical time. I mean, once this grass starts matting up and you can throw that ribbit over the top of it or that new 6 cents buzz frog,
yes,
that's going to be a killer bait.
It is.
It is called the
Buzzgill. Yeah, Buzzgill. They've actually
Buzzgill.
got a couple different baits with that same body, but that Buzzgill is going to be awesome to put, whether you put on the back of a buzz bait, even on a swim jig, because that'll help really keep it up high in the water column.
Right.
Or throwing it by itself on a heavy wire hook, you can really have some
Now,
fun.
wait, you mentioned something right there that just throwed me off. You talking about putting it on a swim jig?
Yeah. That's
Wow. Talk a little bit about putting a frog on a swim jig.
Well, a swim jig is kind of an open-ended thing. Guys use everything from crawl-style trailers to frog-style trailers, swim bait-style trailers. But anything like with the way that plastic lays, if you're like on the Coosa wanting to swim it up real shallow and keep it up around that willow grass and stuff, the size of that bait, along with the legs having that action, will help keep that bait high in the water column, let you have to sit there and burn it, shake a rod hard. So.
Takes a lot of work out of it.
Yeah,
it does.
That's exactly right. It takes a lot of work out of it. If you put just a narrow bait on there, you're going to have to really reel it fast, keep it up high. So
Right. Easier on your wrist.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you shake that swim jig for 8 hours. I promise you, it at the end of the day. It'll wear you out. Right. But that Buzzgill, I think, will definitely take a lot of the work out of it. And it's got a real thin profile body and big legs. It's a unique deal.
You're talking about 6 cents.
6 cents Buzzgill.
Yes.
We just got them in today.
Right. We got them up and ready at all 3 locations. And so tell them about the ribbit frog is more of a round body.
Yeah, the ribbit frog is more your traditional frog style with the paddle style legs.
Right.
And that bait is excellent for covering water when you're fishing those mats. You can cover a lot of ground with the ribbit style and then really slow down and be methodical when you get that blow up.
Right.
So it's a handy. You got to have one tied up here.
All right, let me ask you a question. Since we've talked earlier, what about turning it, instead of it being flat on your bait, turn it up wide?
I think you could.
With a 6 cents, it's got a flat profile.
You could on the 6 cents because of the profile of the bait is more of a minnow style versus the frog.
Right.
But that Buzzgill, you could turn it sideways or vertical on a chatterbait, and I think it would surprise you.
Well, Lee Livesey was here about 2 weeks ago, and he come for a different type of bite. And when he came into Goose Pond, he fished the egg pond back behind Goose Pond, and he killed them. And he come in the next day and said, I come for this bite. But he said, I'm going back to frog bite. And he done it 2 days in a row. And that's the reason we put him in.
Yeah.
It's because he done so well.
That gets on back there, and it happens early.
Right.
And that's the thing. And there's nothing more explosive than a Gunnersville bass on a frog.
It's exciting.
I mean, they're angry at it.
Now, when they hit it, do you jerk right then?
You got to give it a second. You can't dry fire because your poor old partner in the back of the boat may be wearing a frog, and I've had that happen, and it's pretty violent as well when it hits him. So
really,
yeah.
And now Lee was fishing it very fast. He was throwing it back on the top where the I don't know what kind of weed you call it. It ain't our normal milfoil or hydrilla, but and it's not the what am I trying to say?
If I had to guess, there's a lot of coontail back there. I haven't been back there recently.
Possibly so. Have you been back there, JD?
Not recently, but I do like to go back there and throw a frog. It can be pretty fun.
Right. And he was bringing it pretty fast across the top.
Right, with the primrose. Is that what we're
Primrose.
talking about? Yeah.
That's
All
what
right.
I was trying to say. Primrose. I'm sorry. Thank you.
I want to sound educated before I just took a risk and said it, but I thought that's what it was.
There you go. Go out on a limb and jump off.
There you go.
Sometimes
Yeah,
it works.
go for it.
That's it. That's it. So how do you fish your frog? Your rivet style, 6 cents?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do with the buzzgill is now a lot of these places that I've been fishing, especially places that the past month I've been maybe throwing a Texas rig or a wacky rig. So we're starting to have actually patches of, not full grass mats, but patches of grass come to the surface. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that buzzgill and I'm throwing across those scattered patches, obviously early in the day or late in the day, and just covering shallow areas like that, because you got bluegill that are fitting to move up and spawn, a lot of bass hanging around garden fry. So there's still plenty of fish up there. You hear they're flurrying out deep, but you can take that frog or any running frog and go around the scattered grass areas and just cover water fast.
You just got to test it to see what they want. Whether
That's
they want
right.
it fast or whether they want it slow or
And if you don't get any blowups or you just get some weight behind it, or you miss some fish, then you need to slow down, drag or flip something.
okay. All right.
You got to
Well,
cover some ground on Gunnersville. When you could hit a grass patch that could have 15, 20 fish in it and be the right ones, but you have to cover enough ground to do that. You can't scan that stuff.
Right.
So you have to fish it. And, if you look at my boat, and I'm sure if you look at JD's, there's always a couple different variations of topwaters rigged up. I know I've got the frog, you've got the buzz bait, and there's a 1,000 different variations of spooks out there. But I know 6 Cents makes one that you caught them on the other day.
The Dogma 115, which we're going to have in here pretty soon. I'm going to work on that. But it's a little bit bigger size spook.
And I don't think you can throw one that's too big.
No.
And don't forget about American Bait Works. They come out with that weedless,
Yep.
I'll tell you,
weedless spook.
The zoo lineup, the zoo
Yes.
pop, zoo pup, zoo dog, now the zoo wake.
Right.
They knew what they were doing when they developed that. When we first got it, I was curious, because you see something that's different, and the first thing you think, well, is this going to catch us or us and the fish?
Right.
And I took it out there to try it, and there's so much floating gill grass, and it's like people come in here, well, I can't throw a spook or a triple hook bait because of floating gill grass. You can throw that bait anywhere.
Exactly.
There
And it
is-
works.
There is no law to that bait. So
Exactly. It's
it
a
does
soft
work.
bait. Explain to them what it is.
It's basically a frog. Let's just say they took a frog and made it to the shape of a popper
Spook.
or a spook, right? So same kind of frog material, and I could be wrong. And the way the hook is also like a frog. it's rounded up behind the bait. So your bite is pretty much going to be like a frogfish, where they get it. You need to give them a second before you really lay the power to them.
But you can actually walk that bait through
Yes.
the eelgrass.
You sure
whether
can.
it be floating or not.
Right, yeah, you can pop the zoo pop through all the floating
Right.
stuff. You can walk the zoo dog through it, and also they're not zoo wake, and they got a running option, so you can
Right.
just chunky and wind that thing. If you reel it at a high rate of speed, it'll go down, make a little wake. If you reel it slow at the top, it'll kind of zigzag. So it's really versatile.
Very versatile.
Right.
That's something that people need to have in their arsenal.
Definitely
don't
on Gunnersville.
Have to be around grass to catch them on that bait. That thing skips like a rock. You can skip it under docks. I mean, it's an excellent. You can't do that with a traditional spook. It's just
Right.
not going to work, or a popar. But you can that one.
Right.
So
Very good point.
I haven't tried
want
that yet, but a kind of neat little idea.
It works.
I'm gonna have to use that against Matt sometime.
There you go. You think it'd work?
Yeah, especially when we go down the Coosa River.
Well, if Matt said it'd work, it'd work.
If Matt said it works, then it's 25 pounds certified. So
it's 25
go.
pounds certified
Yeah.
of carp, drum, catfish.
we
you name
we
it.
didn't say bass.
Yeah, we
I
didn't
mean,
say
Gunnersville's
bass.
full of fish. I mean, like the drum, the white bass, the crappie.
I'm gonna start guiding for catfish. I'm telling you, I am the cat master.
Well,
Give
let me
me a
tell you.
chatterbait, and I can go out here and I'll give you a run for your money on catfish.
Well, it'll straighten your line, won't
I
it?
know.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get them up in the boat. ain't it?
Yeah, it makes a little
And
bit of a mess.
when you get them in your boat, it's soggy.
Yeah, it stays there. You can still see the outline on my boat where I laid him on the deck.
Okay. Well, that's good. Now, buzz bait. Tell them about the buzz bait. How can you fish a buzz bait? Most people just chunk it and wind it.
Chunking and winding. This is going to sound crazy, but I do it a lot like a swim jig. I'm constantly shaking that rod tip, and I think it's that little bit of splash that makes a difference. And I take a lot of the skirts off my buzz bait, and I'll throw a swim bait on it. I throw a lot of like the skinny dipper.
Okay.
I throw that a lot. I don't have a lot of traditional skirted buzz baits in my boat. Now, I do like the head to make either the squeak
Right.
or hit the head or some sort of clacker, but I love to shake it like I'm throwing a swim jig.
And we've got a diverse selection
We've
of
got a
buzzbaits.
huge selection of buzz baits, and we've got the trailers for them. So.
Right. Exactly. And like I say, you can just get in your mind and say, hey, I'm going to try this trailer on.
I keep a buzz bait rigged up, and I may be wrong on this, and I don't care if it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon or 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't think there's a wrong time to throw a buzz bait if the situation is correct for it.
Right.
You know, so
exactly. And the only way to know is throw it.
that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
And Lee, when he caught his fish, it was in bright day, straight up 12 o'clock sun.
Yep.
And I mean, so just because the sun's out and they won't come to the top, they will come to the top.
Absolutely, they will.
And it's just like you hit on the head.
Yep.
You got to be there when they're there.
That's it.
How do you fish a buzzbait, JD?
Well, I'm kind of old school with it. To me, it works all day long, but I feel like, any kind of big top water, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it, all day to get 5 bites. So with that being said, I use a buzzbait this time of year, early, late in the day, just like the running frog. But kind of like what Matt said, I like to try one that has a squealing sound. Then if I want dirty water, if I just want something louder, I'll go to more of a one that hits the head. But one that I really like throwing is like the dinner minnow because it actually swivels. It's real durable. You can throw it a mile and you can catch 100 fish on it and never bend the wire. So
wow.
But I'm just kind of simple with it. Usually, like he said, I do take the skirt off nowadays and put a plastic on there. Especially if you want to skip, makes it skip a lot easier. So
Okay, because you don't have that skirt slowing it down.
Exactly.
No drag.
Right.
So that's why you take the skirt off of it.
Right.
See, a lot of people out there may not know why you take a skirt off or why you leave the skirt on, or if you when do you use a trailer? Or can you just use a skirted?
Like I'll leave the skirt on sometimes and put like a Zoom split tail trailer, like a really small trailer that I would actually use on a spinnerbait, and leave the skirt on there. But if I go to like a bigger style plastic, then I'll pull the skirt off.
Okay, that sounds like a winner.
Yep,
makes sense to you.
It does, and I tell you, another killer one is going to be that 6 cents buzzgill.
Yes,
that thing will skip like a rock with that thing on it. I mean,
it being flat, it should skip good.
Absolutely, and you get not only the buzz bait, but you've got the legs as well.
Right.
So I do recommend a trailer hook because you're going to lose a lot of fish on a buzz bait, but a trailer hook will save you a lot of times. But
what size trailer? I mean, what size of trailer hook?
It depends on if I'm fishing a lot of cover. I try to run pretty small, and if I'm around a lot of cover, like just say I was at Neely Henry a couple weeks ago, I was using a 2/0. I don't want a great big one, and I'll run it on my spinner baits too. But if you get too big, then it impedes your trailer. So if you've got a skinny dipper on there and your hook is hitting the tail, it's not going to let it run right.
Exactly.
So it's fine.
So that's when it's according to your trailer.
Correct.
What size hook you use.
Yep.
All right. Another thing is your hook on a buzz bait is like this. Do you hook the trailer hook with the hook down or up just like the hook?
If I'm in open water, I've done it both ways, and I don't think you can do it wrong. If I'm in open water, I think you catch a lot more of them with it hooked down. Okay. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know if it's because they're coming up to eat it and they end up hitting it and turning away, and they'll snag themselves.
Right.
Where if it's up, a lot of times when you set the hook, you open his mouth so much that you just
the trailer just comes out.
Yep.
I got you. I got you. Your thoughts on that, JD?
I use a trailer hook, but if fish are short striking my bait, whether it's a buzzbait or a spinner bait, I try to find something else they may commit to better.
Right.
But then usually I'll get a standard trailer hook, a 1/0 whatever, and I usually always run mine facing up.
Facing up.
Right.
So there's one that faces up, one that faces down.
You're
facing down is open water.
I hadn't tried that, so maybe I'll think about it.
If
That's
you're in open water,
water.
it's really a killer deal. Like
or if the grass hadn't made it to the top yet.
Yep, they'll snag themselves. I mean, and that's the thing, and it really don't affect the buzzbait action very much, but I think they snag themselves more than anything because they get pretty violent when they hit a buzzbait. I mean, even when they're not committing to it, they're still just knocking the fire out of it, and a lot of times they just miss.
Now, a lot of buzzbaits that I've used, you throw them out there, and when you start reeling, they go to the side.
Yep.
Are they supposed to?
Yes.
Some of them do that unless you're running a double-bladed one.
And it'll come straight into you.
Yep.
So, guys out there, if it's running to the side, don't worry about it. That's what it's supposed to do.
And you can bend the blades. I mean, if you take your finger and you stick it in the blades and either bend that blade around it or open it up, it will affect how that buzzbait runs, whether it's you got to reel it quicker or you can reel it slower. So it's something that you can play with. And those blades are pretty durable. I don't care who makes the bait. You can play with those blades a little bit.
Okay.
Like I remember I had a couple buzz baits one time that would all run to, I guess, the left. And I thought something was messed up with them. I was young and, uneducated, and I was thinking, I wanted one that ran straight because on Gunnersville, I'm typically throwing over a flat, kind of more open water. Well, you go down to like the Coosa River, and you're wanting to start on a bank, and you're wanting to keep that thing real tight to the bank. And then I learned talking to people that's how they're supposed to run some buzz bait, especially if you're going down a seawall or a grass edge or just docks and stuff, and you want that to really run close to a dock and hit the post or something, make that noise.
That's when you get your bite.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go.
But I didn't see that, and it took people telling me that,
right?
Because I thought, man, this thing got bent,
right?
But then it's a tool.
So you hear so much about a crankbait, tuning a crankbait. It's not nothing like tuning a crankbait. No,
because you want a crankbait to run straight.
Right.
But I guess if you're wanting that buzz bait to either stay close to the cover or hit the cover, such as wood, and make a noise.
Yes. That would be good if you're running down the side of a log, a lay down.
Right.
And it bouncing up against that thing, that may entice a strike.
I mean, if I was a bass and I heard some hits the wood, I'm gonna go see what's up with it.
JD, you wouldn't make it over a pound.
If I was a bass, I'd have been weighed in 9 times, and I'd be swimming right here in the water.
You'd be in a skillet right now.
Yeah. If I was a fish, just please don't make me a crappie, because I'd be 8 already.
Yeah, I hear you. As much as you love it, you're going to do it, ain't you?
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. Well, talk about some more of the top waters that we have around.
Yeah, we've got all sorts of like the shower blows, the spooks, the pop-ars. We've got just about every top water you can
Don't
think
forget the tried and true whopper plopper.
The whopper plopper.
Bingo.
The Berkeley Chopo.
Yes.
Berkeley Chopo, yep.
River to Sea, whopper plopper.
Yeah. 6th Sense has got something coming that's about, going to be...
About the same thing.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
So the one thing I've noticed about the whopper plopper and the Chopo is there is 2 completely different sounds, and I have seen it where they want one or the other.
Okay.
And I can't explain why that is, but there is definitely a different sound to the 2.
So just because you're out there fishing in an area and you don't get a bite, don't mean the fish ain't there.
No, try something else.
But sound does mean something.
Absolutely, it does. And you got to think like Gunnersville, it's gotten pressured so much. Something that's as small as the sound of a whopper plopper difference may be the key.
Right. And you make the different sound by speeding it up or slowing it down.
Yep.
Or just letting it sit there.
Color. It's something small usually that just triggers those fish to bite.
Right.
We were on a spinnerbait bite here recently, and I was throwing a gold with a red kicker blade. Most on a gold blade, 2 solid gold blades, and I'd catch 10-1.
Right.
And the day before, it completely flip flopped. He caught 10 to my 1.
Really?
And it was a weird deal how that happened, but it's something so minor that usually triggers that fish to react to what you're doing.
Well, JD, if you're out there fishing, how do you know when to try something else? Or, like Matt said, just the change of one color of one blade on a bait?
Usually, a lot of times, it's a matter of, when you do get a bite, how they bite that bait. Like on Gunnersville, if a fish gets your bait real fast, takes off with it, that kind of tells you he's competing for it. Versus if they're barely getting there, you hook them under the chin, on top of the mouth. That kind of tells me, to advance of what I'm doing or change. Or, a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, hadn't had a bite in a while. I'm a changed depth, So
being honest.
I'm a real fisherman, okay? I go out there sometimes and whack them, have a great day, and I go out sometimes and I have to work for it.
Right, exactly.
So it's either a matter of how active the fish are or how aggressive they're hitting the bait. If it's a soft plastic and I'm getting bites, but it's not what I want, that tells me, hey, stick with the same bait, change the color. Or if I'm, not getting any bites, but yet I'm noticing more surface activity, I'm going to kind of come off the bottom, throw a faster, more aggressive bait.
Okay.
There's a million options, and that's what keeps us all in the fishing is because you never, ever stop trying stuff and doing something new.
Everything's new.
Right, and about the top water fishing, about missing fish, having to change top waters. One thing my dad taught me when I was real young, and sometimes I still forget to do this, and I feel dumb for it, but always have a follow-up bait. Whether it's a wacky rig, a stick bait, or a Zoom trick worm, or just any kind of small soft plastic.
To throw behind
so
the bite.
many times, and I notice this in the fall when we're throwing frogs and flipping grass. You'll have a frog blow up, and so many times, even with the same bait, the same frog, you'll throw out there and always get that bite again.
Right. And so you just follow up, like if you have a blow up.
Right. Because if that fish swims all the way up to the top and hits the bait, he's obviously
He's hungry.
Yeah. Unless you just scare the death out of him.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Then he gets in defense mode.
That's right. Which either way, whatever makes them bite, whether it's defense, whether they're hungry, we're just trying to trigger that reaction inside them. So.
Right, exactly. Have you done the follow-up? thing
I have.
before?
I keep one. It depends on if I'm fishing heavy cover or not, but I've got a weightless fluke rigged up on a braid casting rod.
Right.
You'd be surprised how far you can cast a fluke on braid weightless, and that makes a great follow-up bait in the grass. If I'm in open water, you can bank on me having a 3.8, either Kitech or 6-inch Divine or some sort of small swim bait rigged
Right.
up to a lead head.
Exactly.
And that just saves me more time than it doesn't.
I got you. So we're looking at a fluke, a trick worm, a Cinco. We're just so many different baits that you can use as follow-up baits.
Yeah,
It's all
anything
about
that's-
confidence.
Right,
Am I wrong?
exactly.
No.
No, I think whatever you have confidence in.
Well, I'm glad you said that. How do you build confidence?
Catching, not fishing, catching. You got to
Catching.
go out there when they're biting, put down what they're biting and try other stuff, and that way you get confidence in what you're doing.
Okay.
You know what it feels like. A big one, glide baits. If you know you're on a big school of fish, everybody wants to throw the glide bait, but they don't want to really work at it.
That's an intimidating bait
It is,
to me.
and I know you went out with me and Jake that day.
It looks.
Do what?
But if you go out there and they're biting, throw that glide bait in there.
Yeah, I seen y'all do it,
Yeah.
but I ain't throwing it. I'm just going to sit back there and watch.
You got to kind of lob it, but yeah, I mean it's a fun way to get bit.
Right.
And we've got some glide baits here at Waterfront. People hear glide bait and think, oh gosh, all this money and stuff.
Right.
But there's a lot made that we carry here that are affordable and easy to learn with. I'm still learning glide bait fishing, but like the 6-inch draw is a great one to start with. So is this Pro Chad Shad. But like that draw, it's like the 6-inch, it's not so big. I mean, you could throw it on a 7-foot 3-inch rod as long as it's a heavy, action. So
Right.
you don't have to have all this big, heavy duty
No,
gear.
you can throw it
Right.
on 15, 20-pound line. And like I took one of the 6-inch draws over to Smith Lake just messing around, and that thing is a blast. You get
Really?
that thing to kind of swing up underneath the dock. One of those spots are going to absolutely crush it.
Well, Spot can't stand it
They
anyway.
can't stand it.
They wake up pissed off. Every
They
morning.
are pissed off.
They do. They do.
You ain't wrong.
So once you get them on, you got them
No,
too.
absolutely,
don't you?
yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, guys, we've covered. Have y'all got anything else to cover?
I'm happy to be here, and it's topwater season. I'm thrilled. I mean, I'm there's guys out there. Somebody right now is setting the hook on a fish out there on topwater, and we're in here talking
It
about
could be. It could
But-
be you.
Yeah,
Yep.
You know.
But we're blessed to be here.
And it's overcast. Oh, that's one thing. Throwing top water, you can catch them with the sun straight up, but is overcast a better time?
I'm gonna say it is. I mean, I feel like the fish they can see what's above them easier. They're not as pressured, with
Right.
the cloud cover. So obviously, overcast is suits better conditions, but there's no law to anything.
Right.
And
So don't be afraid to try something that somebody says it won't work.
main thing I look for, like when I'm throwing, that top water is, before I even throw one, I'm going to look for some kind of activity.
Okay.
I want to see shad flickering or something getting chased. Something to tell me to throw that.
Right. I got you. And your thoughts on it,
You know,
man?
you see fish schooling, and that's happening underneath the water more than it's happening on the surface. And there's a lot of times, I know everybody that's been in a boat has seen this at some point on a down scan or a 2D sonar, have seen those fish schooling underneath the water.
Right.
Throw a top water at them. Because if they're chasing bait right below the surface, that doesn't mean they won't come up and eat it.
Gotcha.
So I think that there's no wrong time to try it.
Okay. And it's that time of the year, right?
Yep.
It sure is.
It's May the
First.
It is the first
Yeah.
day of May. So,
Right.
guys, we hadn't let it go by.
Nope.
Here it is. It's just now starting,
That's
right?
right.
Yep, that's it. May. It's my wife's birthday month. She ain't going to let me forget it.
Oh, you won't fish on her birthday.
You watch and see if I don't.
Here we go. A man that zips his own britches. Right here.
Right. You heard that.
JD just pulls his up, right?
Sometimes.
Caught you off guard on that.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. That sounds good. Well, guys, I want to thank y'all for sitting in and talking
you.
about it. And I hope all y'all enjoyed everything that we've talked about. And maybe it will help you someday in the near future to put the big bag in your boat.
Yeah.
So,
Come on down. We'll help you. If you're
That's
mad,
right.
see JD. If you're happy, see Matt. If
There
you're really
you
mad,
go.
call Paul.
We're here for you.
and then I'll put you on Jana. So it goes down the line. And so, Matt, close us out.
We appreciate you listening to us. And seriously, if you guys need anything or have any questions, either come see us, call, send us a message on Facebook, whatever we need to help you out.
We'll be there to do it. GTO at 3 locations, Browns Creek, Waterfront, and Goose Pond. Y'all come see us. Y'all have a great fishing day.
guys, Shady here. It's top water season. We're about to highlight a lot of the baits we have at waterfront and all different styles of top water fishing. So let's go. So the first bait we're gonna highlight here, guys, this is the new 6th Sense Buzz Gill. As you can see, it's already been doing some work on Gunnersville. Got several different colors here. This bait has a wide, flat body, so it's gonna stay up on top of the water surface easy, whether you're throwing a hook by itself or adding it as a trailer to a buzz bait or swim jig. So this is gonna be one that you wanna check out very soon. And then also with 6th Sense, we got the Vega Frog. I almost forgot. What's off with the Vega Frog is it's got a cup nose for spitting action, but it's got a good keeled bottom to it, so it walks almost like a spook very effortlessly. So you can throw this bait in open water or even over matted grass because it's not going to snag. And it's got a great hookup ratio. Once again, several different good color options here at Waterfront. Great time to throw a frog up around them shallow beds and stuff. So next thing, one thing, if you've been throwing top water long enough, you've probably thrown this bait. They've been tried and true for a long time. This is the ribbit. We've got the baby ribbit, the ribbit, and the bull ribbit, even the top two hollow body, some of these. So these are kind of like the buzz gill. You know, they're a top water running frog, and there's several different sizes, whether you're, you know, whatever lake you're fishing, whether you're kind of on the Coosa or Tennessee River. So whatever profile you want to imitate, ribbit's got you covered. And also we got the hooks for them. You know, you can use this double frog hook here to go on them top toes with the ribbit frogs, or if you want to just get a single heavy wire hook, that'll work real good as well. So next up, guys, we got snag proof. Snag proof here, we've got a lot of options from your zoo family. We got your zoo pop, your zoo pup, and obviously the zoo dog. And new for this year, the zoo weight. So this one you just chuck out there and reel. This is a top water bait, also acts as a weight bait. You can kind of reel it under the surface. So something unique. It's weedless. You can throw it anywhere. Next up is Spro. Spro has got everything from the Bronzeye Frog 65, the Bronzeye Junior, all the popping options, the flapping options. But did you know they actually sell replacement skirts? So, you know, whether it's on a Spro frog or any brand of frog, you can come to Waterfront and get a skirt that matches your frog. That way, before season starts, instead of buying new frogs, you can just change the legs and ones you got. So come check them out. Got a whole bunch of different selections of them here at Waterfront to match your frog. So the next thing we're going to talk about is buzz baits. If you've been throwing top water at all, you have probably thrown a buzz bait. We know there's all kinds of different styles. This is going to be a clacker. This is the Booyah Buzz. Just like they say, that's what the name of it is. This is the clacker style. It's got the clacker on it, and you've got more options. You've got a black blade, you've got a nickel blade. So depending on if you want flash or no flash, they got you covered. Several different sizes, 1/4, 3/8, and 1/2 ounce. So check these out here at Waterfront. The next buzz bait we're going to talk about here, this is the Buckeye. This is the G-Buzz. So what this is intended to do is actually for skipping docks, skipping around cover. As you see, it's fixed. This buzz bait actually comes with nothing on it, no skirt, no trailer, because this is meant to put your own plastic lure on there, whether it's a running frog or a little swim bait. But like I said, with it being fixed like that, it doesn't move. You'll be able to skip docks and around stuff very easily. So one more buzz bait to talk about, guys. Of course, there's a lot more in here, but one that's super durable, you can cast far and it'll last for ages. That is a dinner minnow. So dinner minnow is real unique. This is more of a squealing style or squealing sound buzz bait. As you see, though, you actually have a joint here where it actually moves. What this does is this prevents the wire from getting bent, lets this bait have a lot of action back and forth when you're reeling it to the water column, or I'm sorry, at the top of the water column. And same thing here. It comes with a skirt and a trailer, but you have the option to leave that just like it is, or pull the bait off, or pull the skirt off and put whatever plastic you desire on there. All right, so now we're going to talk about hard treble hook top water baits. First one here, this is the Whopper Plopper. The Whopper Plopper, you got a bunch of different sizes depending on if you're trying to imitate little bait fish or large bait fish. You got the Whopper Plopper 60, you got the Whopper Plopper 75, and the Whopper Plopper 90, and the 110. They also make a bigger size, like a 130 here. So, you know, no matter whether you're down in Florida or up here on Tennessee River, you know, we got, you know, big ones, small ones. So my favorite of all the sizes is the 110. It's just kind of more of a mid-grade. It's not too big, not too small, and works great up here on Gunnersville. So the next top water bait we're talking about is more of a pencil popper style bait. So whether you're fishing a herring lake like Lanier, Smith, trying to catch big spotted bass, you probably want to have one of these tied on. This is called the Cane Walker 125 here. But like I said, it's a real narrow, you know, you got a cup nose. This bait's designed to walk real tight back and forth without covering a bunch of water. So you can really, you know, kind of make it sit and, you know, twitch your rod tip. This bait's going to do a really sharp walk back and forth, trigger up fish, even from deeper water. So more of a wake bait style. This is the Mikey Junior here. So what you can do with this is just a chunky line. This has got 2 joints in it. You're going to fish right at the surface. It's going to create a tight weight. This is real versatile. I mean, it works on deep, clear lakes, works on shallow, dirty lakes. Like I said, it's just a great bait to throw early in the morning. You know, if you want to throw something with treble hooks, it's got a little nice knocking sound, so it can trigger fish from a long way away. Come on, let's go. So last but not least, we're actually going to walk the dog here. You know, the term spook is thrown around so much in bass fishing. Well, the actual spook here, this is the head-in sipper spook. Of course, you got the Zara spook down here. So all these are more like your walk the dog options. You got a full size option here, but now you've also got your junior size. So if you want to kind of throw on a lighter rod, downsize for small bait fish, they got you covered here. So check these out. Like I said, there's Head-in, probably one of the better selling topwater spooks there is, just because they've been around and tried and proven. Thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of GTO Good Ole Boys. I enjoy talking to y'all about fun topwater bassing. So tie on your favorite topwater lure, get out there, catch you some big old springtime fish, and come see us at Waterfront. Remember, we're always here for you. Have a great day.